You might as well do the swearing in then too.
Oh, okay.
You gonna be able to keep track of all that?
Poor girl.
Hello?
Okay, thank you, everybody. We brought you all back into the meeting so we can go over the meeting format with the chairman and also swear you in. And then we will put each of you back in the waiting room until it's time for your case. So I will hand it over to Judy Ennis, our chairperson.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight at the Zoning Board of Appeals. If you have not had the pleasure of spending your evening with us, let me tell you how it works. You have requested a variance. That means you ask us to take an existing zoning rule and change it for you. And I will tell you, if it is granted, the variance will stay with the property. It's not yours that you can take and move to another location and have that variance for you. You will find out tonight whether or not your variance has been granted, because how this board works is we will read your request. The city will present some evidence such as showing us the locations and talk about it. We will then ask you to testify as to why not getting this variance is a hardship for you. And then we'll open it up to questions in the audience, which doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of people in the audience tonight. The board will discuss it and ask you questions openly. I will close it for the board for the open meeting, and then the board will decide and vote tonight. And we'll come back into the public meeting and you'll know right away whether your variance has been granted. In the event your variance has not been granted, you have the option to go to the Court of Common Pleas. We have a court reporter here that records the entire proceedings. So it's important that you talk loudly and talk directly, because the poor woman, because we're all wearing masks here, it's hard enough on her, but she needs to be able to understand. You must give your name and address before you start speaking so that she can distinguish who you are. Now, if you are going to testify tonight, if you have a variance request before the board, you will be testifying. So I normally ask you to stand up, but I'm not going to do that. You can all stay seated, but just raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
We do.
I do.
Thank you.
I do.
You're all considered sworn in now. For those board members who are here in person, thank you. It's nice to see you guys. I haven't seen you since November. I thought I'd have to have all wear name tags here. I'm going to deviate a little bit from the way the variance, the agenda is written. I'm going to put the election of officers at the end because we have a lot of variances to hear and I don't want to hold up anybody. So the first thing we need to do real quickly is the approval of the minutes for the meeting from November 13th. You've received the minutes. Do I have an approval? Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. They're approved. Okay. The first request for variance is Myra Gilley of Toledo Sign on behalf of Marathon, located at 1240 West Wooster Street, has requested a variance to construct a fourth sign, a 36-inch by 95.5-inch wall sign, which exceeds the 3 maximum allowable signs per business. Heather?
Thank you. Again, we have the applicant, which is Myra Gilley of Toledo Sign on behalf of Marathon at 1240 West Wooster Street. Under section 150.66 of the zoning code, titled Outdoor Advertising in B, I, M, and S districts, under subsection E1, you will see that no more than 3 outdoor advertising can be used for each building or business. Here's an aerial view of the property. We highlighted the boundaries of that. You can see the canopy. The front half of the building is the Marathon Station, and then of course the back half is Sunday Station. I think a lot of us is probably well aware of Sunday Station in this hot weather. So that again gives you an idea of that aerial view off of Wooster there. And then here's some pictometry. We like to use the pictometry to show some different elevations of the property. Again, you can see their existing pylon. The canopy already has 2 Marathon signs on it. One here at the southern elevation and one at the western elevation of that canopy. Here's a picture of the front of the building. Again, not a whole lot to see. But you can see, again, the marathon signs I already pointed out. And then again, that existing pylon. In your packet was a picture of the sign that they wish to erect on the building, which would be their fourth sign, a wall sign. We did receive one email that I copied to you and emailed to you, so those participating during the Zoom meeting could read that, but I will read that into the record. It was received Wednesday, June 10th of this year at 10:52 a.m. from Jill Hess, and it was written to the administrative secretary in our planning department office regarding 1240 West Wooster Street. It says, "Hello, Jamie. Thank you for the attachment showing the proposed sign for which Toledo Sign is requesting a variance to construct a fourth sign that exceeds the 3 maximum allowable signs per business at Marathon across the street from our house. It appears from the photograph and description that there is no bright light associated with the proposed sign. Assuming this is correct, we have no objection to the additional sign. Our only objection would be any additional lights that might shine onto our property in the evening. We currently have bright lights from the parking lot behind us and the flashing lights at the intersection. We would object to any additional lights surrounding our property. Thank you. Sincerely, Jill A. Hess, 1320 West Wooster Street, Bowling Green, Ohio, 43402.
All right, now, is there anyone?
I have one more statement. I
sorry.
apologize that I have to read into the record. An advertisement was placed in the newspaper of general circulation as required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the administrative code were posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed, first class mail, to the tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedure requirements for the hearing have been met.
Okay, Myra, I understand you were there, and you were sworn in. So would you like to talk about the request that you're representing Toledo Sign on? Please give your name and address so the court reporter can hear you.
Okay, it's Myra Gwelly, 2021 Adams, Toledo, Ohio. And basically the requirements by Marathon is in order to have a gas station, you have to have the 2 signs that are there. So that is something he can't change by taking something down. Also, the property sits well back, and the only other allowable sign would be on that tenant panel, which is a very small portion there. So he was hoping to get something to identify and brand his store, and I would say setback would be the hardship. And
Now, is there
I don't
any
know.
lighting involved with that sign?
Pardon me?
Was one of the letters was requesting, is there any lighting involved with that sign?
It is lit, but it's just a face lit, and it certainly would not be anything more than it's not going to shine on anyone's property where it's going to be too much for them.
Okay. I understand, is Mr. Rady there too, who wants to speak?
Yes,
Okay.
Louis Aridi. Well, 1240 West Worcester Marathon gas station. I mean, I just want to mention 2 points. Marathon fascia canopy, they all have that Marathon logo, which is part of their fascia, and their standard that do not consider a main sign. However, I understand on your end. And we really like to add our own branding, which is we own 11 gas stations in Northwest Ohio. And we would like this gas station to be part of our branding, which is Reedy's. And that's why we would like to see the logo over there. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the board, do you have any questions?
I do.
Just go ahead, please.
This is Hobie, and I wanted to ask if the person believes correctly that it is face lit. It looks like it's backlit, the way the design is. Is that correct? Is it backlit, not face lit?
No, it's face lit.
So where is the light shining towards it? Where is that going to be placed?
Through the front, but it has to go through the orange as well. So it will be an orange light. I mean, because it's going through an orange copy, and when whatever white would be white. So
Okay, so it's backlit then. It's coming from the back side of the sign towards the front.
it's internally lit. We
Correct.
call it-
That's backlit.
Yeah, you're You're right, you're correct, yes.
So the only reason I'm pointing that out is that would be a less intrusive light than it would be if there was one shining at it, which could be reflective.
Gotcha, gotcha, yes, yes, true.
Thanks, Obie.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else?
This is Nathan.
Go ahead, Nathan.
So, as my understanding, especially when we're speaking of any variances, we especially commercial, that we want to hear more of like an economic, what's the economic issue here for the business with this specific sign versus using as existing structures, or is there alternatives that could be available utilizing the pylon or the existing canopy?
Well, he can't use, is it okay to talk?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. So he can't use the canopy because it's, Marathon basically is in charge and regulates that. So that's part of his dilemma.
Okay.
So while there is a very small spot that he could put on the pylon, it's very small. So, and it sets back in the lot. So you definitely want people to be at least able to see it on the building to draw people in. And so that was the reasoning for the trying to get the variance. If he had any say over what he could do with the ones on the canopy, I'm sure that he could take one off to meet the regulations, but he can't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you for that clarification on what's allowable on the canopy and the opinion of the existing pylon in terms of size and
Yeah, it's not very big. It's a very small tenant panel.
I have a question. My understanding is that there are 8 or 9 other gas stations that have this sign on it because he owns 8 or 9 other ones. Is that correct?
Yes,
Correct.
actually we have 11 gas stations in Northwest Ohio, which is all around Toledo area. They all have the same brand called Reedy's. And obviously we advertise a lot of marketing, and we want the people in the neighborhood to know this is a Reedy store and they can take the benefit that we are offering. For example, we have a loyalty program offers 4 cents off per gallon when they have the Reedy's rewards. So we want them when we advertise it.
Sir, can you talk a little louder and a little clearer,
yeah,
please?
sure. I'm sorry. How about now?
Okay, and talk a little slower too, please. Not that the reporter is slow, but it's just having a hard time coming through.
Okay, to answer your questions, yes, we do have 11 gas stations with the same brand, Reedy's, and we would like this gas station to have this logo so customers can see it and take advantage of the benefits we offering to the customers. That we have a loyalty program called Reedy's Reward offering 4 cents off per gallon for all customers. So I really want them to see the brand and the benefit of that brand. And that's the way I believe that when we have the sign on the building, it will track customers in.
Thank you. Is there anybody else
Thank
who would
you.
like to have a question, make a comment? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing, and members of the board, we will discuss among ourselves. Gentlemen?
I have nothing. I mean, I wanted to know the economic impact just because of knowing what and all alternatives, and I think it's been discussed and provided at least to my satisfaction. So
Okay, anybody else?
This is Rose. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I always wondered why that building never had a name on it, and I wonder who owned it.
Now you know.
Now I know.
Okay. I'm going to come back into the public hearing, and I'm going to ask our secretary, whose name says Denise up there, to, I need a motion first.
So moved.
So second,
Seconded.
Okay, you'll have to tell me who's.
Okay,
Who
Mr.
moved?
Waddle made the motion, and
Sorry,
Hobie,
who?
did you, Bob made the motion.
Okay,
Hobie, did you second it?
I can.
Nate,
that's fine.
Nathan seconded it.
all right, I have it.
Okay, now you can call the roll, please, Rose.
Okay, Nate
yes.
Johnson. Hobie,
Yes,
Chris Ostrowski,
Yes.
Ennis,
Yes.
Hess, yes. Flieger,
Yes.
Waddle.
Yes.
Okay,
Sir, your request for your variance is granted. Thank you. Now you'll have to go in the morning to the city and get the necessary paperwork, okay?
Thank you so much.
I'm going to go ahead and
All right,
remove you from the
thank you.
meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Even if they want to stay.
Why would you want to
I
stay?
like that. Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Did you remove Rose?
No.
you removed me?
No, you're there, Rose.
No, that wasn't intent.
Not getting away that easy.
Okay, give me a
Sure.
minute to bring back. Wait a minute, I thought I got rid of her there.
Thank you, Joan. That was a real feat of getting that.
Okay, wait, I don't know why I can't remove, there she goes. Okay. Okay,
Ready?
yes.
All right, the second request for variance is Helen Dukes, 309 North Summit Street, has requested a variance to construct a 14-foot by 14-foot addition, which would encroach 3 feet 2 inches into the 5-foot required setback for an existing lot of record from the side property line to the north. Heather?
Thank you. As you've already stated, the applicant's Helen Dukes, 309 North Summit Street. We do have Tom Pendleton, her contractor, that is here tonight to represent her application. This is for an addition to the home, and under section 150.86, existing lots of record, subsection A, in no case shall the width of any side yard be less than 5 feet. This is an existing lot of record because it existed prior to the zoning code, and it's only about 39 feet wide. So it's one of those lots that have a little bit of flexibility when it comes to building. But in this case, she obviously still needs the variance to be able to comply with that. I did want to point out there was a variance back in September 12th of 83 to add a 16-foot by 16-foot wooden deck that was approved, but that has since been removed. And of course, this is a different type of request with the size, and it's an actual addition rather than a deck. Here's an aerial view of the property where we have the parcel highlighted. So you'll see an alley in the back, and then of course the frontage along Summit. Ridge Park is there to the north. And then of course to the south, we have a couple other parcels, but it's a fairly deep lot. It's just, again, that width that makes it problematic. Again, here's some pictometry just trying to show you some different views of the property. This is looking at the back. And then that was looking at the front. Sorry, here I went a little fast. And then here's pictures of the front of the home. You'll even see there's, there's kind of a driveway squished in there that's shared a bit with that neighboring property. And then here's looking towards the side of the house, the northern edge. And then here's looking from the back of the property, so you can see that. And then here's a sketch that was part of your packets showing the proposed 14 by 14 addition in red. We did not receive any phone calls or written correspondence. However, I will point out that we had somebody on the phone call that wishes to speak. I'll read my general statement. An advertisement was placed in the newspaper of general circulation as required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the Ministry of Code were posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed, first class mail, to the tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedural requirements for the hearing have been met.
Thank you. Mr. Pendleton, did you want to be the first speaker?
Sure, that would be fine. You can all hear me well.
We can, thank you.
Excellent. Well, good evening, everyone. Miss Dukes is looking, if you noticed on the pictures that Heather showed us, there's a small addition that's right now sort of cleaving onto the back of the house. It's about 12 by 12. I don't know when it was built and I don't know who built it, but it is physically falling off of the back of the house. So this new addition is intended to replace that and not only make it a safe place for her to be, that it directly adjoins her kitchen, but more importantly, Miss Dukes is an elderly retired minister and her washer and dryer are in the basement of this home. And as you are all probably familiar with the way the older homes are laid out, that's a narrow, steep stairway. One of her goals for this addition is to be able to bring her washer and dryer upstairs and have a safe place for that to be so she isn't always going up and down the steps. It is a strange northern lot line because the house indeed does straddle that line, but we will not encroach any further towards that lot line than the existing addition that we will be removing does. It's maintaining that same line along the north side. That's about it. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory that way, unless you all have any questions of me.
Okay, is there anyone else who wanted to address this? Do we have a phone call in that wants to talk on this?
Yes. Please.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, you're going to have to speak up. Can you turn the volume up on?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay, right. I have no problem with it. I spoke with Helen and I saw the construction and it aligns properly with the existing house line. So I think it's a good addition and I support it.
Okay.
So I have no problem with it. According to the letter that I got, I think I spoke with her and we're fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
I just wanted to join. Yeah, right. So is that all for me then?
We need your name and address.
Okay, my name is Ewart Skinner, Ewart Skinner. Address is 1133 Lynn Road, Lyn Road, Bowling Green. But I'm the owner of the property in 350 North Summit.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your coming tonight, or coming on the phone with us anyway. Is there anybody else who
Right,
wishes
just wanted to support.
Okay, thank you. That's very nice of you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hope to see you in person someday.
Of course. All right. Thank you. Hi, Tom.
Rose, can I ask a question? This is Hobie.
Very long line.
Or
Sure, go ahead.
Judy, can I? Okay. I just wanted to ask Mr. Pendleton, you're going to be removing that smaller addition, which you're referring to as about to fall off anyway, and replace it in the same footprint, or is this a little bit larger?
The new addition's a little bit larger. It will maintain the same northern line with the house, but the new southern line will actually be, if you'll follow me, in line with the existing rear of the home. So that it will come directly off the back of the house, which happens to be 14 feet, and it'll be a 14-foot square there.
Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and we'll just discuss it among ourselves. I can certainly understand why you'd want to put your washer and dryer, get your washer and dryer out of the basement. That alone to me is a hardship.
Yeah, I went by and looked at it today. It makes sense
Yeah.
because it is a real small addition.
Anybody else? Okay, we're back in the public hearing now. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Hobie, so moved.
I'm sorry, Chris, beat you to it, Hobie. You want to second it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Will the secretary call the roll, please?
Let me get this straight. Chris moved and Hobie second.
Yes.
All right. Bob Waddle,
Yes.
David Flieger,
Yes.
Chris Ostrowski,
Yes.
Hobie Johnson,
Yes.
Nate Eberly,
Yes.
Rose Hess, yes. Judy Ennis.
Yes. Your request for your variance has been granted.
Excellent.
you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. The next request really has two different requests for two different variance requests in it. So I'm going to take them separately. This is from an Amy Borner Springstead at 1-800 Timber Ridge Drive, has requested a variance to construct a 16-foot by 24-foot accessory building, which would encroach 10 feet into the 20-foot required setback from the rear property line to the north, and would encroach 3 feet into the 20-foot required setback from the primary structure. That's the first request for a variance that we're going to take. Okay? Heather?
I'm
Okay.
sorry, Jill. It was, we were looking at which aspect of it again? The building?
We're taking just the first one.
Okay.
Not the in-ground pool. We're taking just the
Okay.
first one on the building.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my presentation is set up that I'm gonna go over the
That's okay.
ordinance together, if that's okay. So again, we have Amy Borner Springstead, who is, with us tonight via Zoom, of course, the owner of 1800 Timber Ridge Drive. Under section 150.90 rear yards, under section B2, an accessory building that is larger than 160 square feet shall be no closer than 20 feet to the primary structure, 20 feet to the rear lot line, and 10 feet to the side property lines. It does meet the side property lines, but it would not meet that rear yard setback and then the setback from the primary structure. Also in the same section 150.90, but under subsection C, any swimming pool constructed on a lot shall not be constructed so as to extend into the required front or side yards. In this request, the pool would be approximately 1 foot into the front yard along Waterside Drive. They're on a corner lot, so they face Timber Ridge, but then they have that secondary front lot along Waterside Drive. Here's an aerial view of the property. You'll actually see they have Goral in their backyard also, so Waterside and then Timber Ridge. Using pictometry, here's an aerial view of the property looking straight at the front of the home. And then using pictometry again, here's a view of the back of the home. Here's a picture looking at the side of the house. This would be Waterside Drive here to the east. And then here's a picture looking at the back corner of the home. They do have some stakes that tried to replicate where the pool would be. And then again, you can see a better view of the backyard towards the neighbor, who she indicated in her application has a similar style pool and fencing that she would like to do. Here's a sketch. I know it's very hard to read, just part of the presentation. I like to show that. We tried to highlight the actual pool water because really that's where the setback is measured from, is the pool water, not the concrete that is around the in-ground pool that is in yellow. And then the pink, we highlighted that proposed accessory structure. And then we tried to highlight the variances because we know there's multiple variances that can get a little bit complicated. So we tried to keep those straight with the rear yard setback. And then the other one from the house, and then again, the one from Waterside for the pool edge of the water. We did not receive any phone calls or written correspondence after mailing letters out and having it in the newspaper. An advertisement was placed in the newspaper of general circulation as required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the Administrative Code were posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed first class mail to the tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedural requirements for the hearing have been met.
Thank you. Amy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here with my husband, Dion.
Okay. And you both have been sworn in?
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
They have.
All right. Would you like to discuss your reasons for requesting this variance? And remember, we're just doing it on the accessory building to start.
The accessory building, the hardship would be to try to have it in a sensible place. And we were trying to have it so it could be, a pool could be centered in the building, you know what I mean? And try to keep it kind of uniform to what the neighbors have and an appropriate distance away from the house. And I don't really know what to say other than that. I've never done one of these meetings, so.
Trust us, we haven't done one like this here before either, so you feel right at home. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this request? Members of the board, does anyone have any questions?
What is the height of the structure?
Believe it was,
Is it in compliance?
it's below the 18 foot. So I believe it was like 16 foot.
16 and a half on the drawing.
16, yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
16 and a half.
Yes.
And let me look here. So if it's 160 square feet, it can't exceed 12 feet, but since they're what, about 300 and some square feet? So then what's the maximum, 18?
According to what we saw on the on your guys's rules, yes, 18 foot would be the maximum.
Okay. So they're compliant there.
Did you hear? Okay.
So they're compliant in that respect.
Right.
Did you hear that? Okay. Is there anybody else? Any other questions for the public hearing? If not, I'll close the public hearing and the board members will discuss it amongst themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, your thoughts?
I thought they did a nice job balancing things exactly as the gentleman stated. I mean, he really centered it about as closely as you could to make it work.
Yeah. If it looks like the neighbors, it's going to be good looking. I was out there today. Yes.
I'm good.
Okay, we'll come back. May I have a motion for the first request for variance, this will be the accessory building?
So moved, Chris Ostrowski.
Second.
Okay.
David.
We
give me-
have a motion and a second.
Pardon?
We have a motion and a second, Rose. Will you
I
call
need-
the roll?
Names, please.
Pardon?
Just give me the names.
Chris Ostrowski moved.
And Dave
David
seconded.
seconded it.
Thank you. Okay, Nate Eberly,
Yes.
Chris Ostrowski,
Yes.
David Flieger,
Yes.
Judy Ennis,
Yes?
Bob Waddle,
Yes.
Hobie Johnson,
Yes.
Rose Hess, yes.
All right, you got that variance, request for variance has passed. The second request on your list is a variance has been requested to construct a 16-foot by 40-foot in-ground pool, which would encroach 1 foot into the 25-foot required front yard setback to the east corner lot. Heather, is there anything else you want
I
to
have
add to
nothing
that?
else to add, but I'm
Okay.
happy to answer questions.
Okay, you want to talk about that request?
Yes. With consulting with different pool companies, and we still have one bid out from Bella Pools. Depending on the pool manufacturer and design, the standard, one of the standard widths of the pool is the 16 foot. So that would be your rear setback and the building setback, I believe. And then into the side yard, to get the depth of the pool, some of them have, like 40 foot, 35 to 40 feet is that range to get around a 6 foot, 6.5 foot plus depth in the deep end of the pool. So that was the reasoning with that. And then once again, to try to aesthetically place it in the yard, keep it at a safe distance from the home, and try to stay within all those bounds. The difficulty was trying to keep it out of that side yard setback. So the 1 foot was something that, we thought was a good compromise on our end. Other than that, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, we had a few things to contend with trying to figure out the design and try to make it uniform with the neighborhood and everything else. So.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I do, but I'm not sure that it's mentioned somewhere, the fence, the solid fence. I'm not sure I understand that. They said they're going to use a fence like the neighbors. Is that considered a solid fence?
It's a wrought iron fence.
Is that considered solid, Heather?
Yes, a solid fence just can't have any more than a 2-inch gap between the railings.
Okay. And they do?
Can you go to the picture of the
There's a
neighbor?
picture of it right here. Do you have the picture, Rose?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But I mean, I can't tell what the distance is between
It's a
the,
pretty standard fence that we see on a lot of these in-ground pools. We
uh-huh,
don't have the details on the fence, but just by looking at the picture, they're fairly standard of what we've seen before and approved.
okay.
I don't have that measurement here.
Anything else? Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, and ladies and gentlemen, your feelings?
I mean, it
have
makes sense
nothing.
what they're trying to do, again.
I think it'll
It's
look very
sitting there
nice.
Like the
and,
other one, the same type of fencing and
Yep.
everything.
And it was thoughtful to their neighbors to make the fence the same. That way everything looks nice in the neighborhood.
It's thoughtful to the neighborhood, yeah. And since it's right on the, literally on the, you can see it when you're driving down the street, so that looks nice.
Yes.
Okay, we'll come back into public hearing, and may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Nathan?
Nathan?
And Chris second. All right, Chris.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
Hobie?
Yes.
Rose Hess, yes. Judy Ennis?
Yes,
Nate Eberly?
Yes.
Chris Ostrowski?
Yes.
Fleeger?
Yes.
And Bob Waddle?
Yes.
your request, both of your variances have been granted for you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Again,
very
you'll
much.
have to get the necessary paperwork from at the city planning department sometime this week before you actually start the construction, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. All right, the next one is from Bowling Green Manor, 1021 West Poe Road. Has requested a variance to exceed the 40% maximum total lot coverage in the I-1 institutional zoning district by 12%. 52% of the lot would be covered by impervious service to allow the construction of an addition. Heather?
Got to bring the applicant in here.
Hi.
Hi, Revis.
Hi.
We're going to start staff report right now.
Okay.
Gotta speak up a little.
He's not supposed to be on this.
Okay, thank you. Applicant Bowling Green Manor, 1021 West Poe Road, has requested a variance to exceed the 40% maximum total lot coverage in the I-1 institutional zoning district by 12%. Thus, the lot would be covered 52% by impervious surface to allow the construction of an addition. Under section 150.16 bulk and density regulations, the following for each district are the required minimum residential lot sizes, the required building setbacks, the required minimum lot frontage, the maximum building height, and the maximum lot coverage. Terms are defined in section 150.03. I know it's hard to read here, but essentially we pulled out the district I-1 institutional and then circled the maximum lot coverage of 40%. Here's an aerial view of the existing property. You'll see that it's near the corner of Haskins and West Poe. Again, the existing lot coverage now is at 43%, which already exceeded the 40%, of course, but since they are wanting to add more impervious surface with their construction project, it would be at the 52%. Using pictometry, here's a front view of the property. You can see how that exists today, and then we have some other views to show. Here is looking at that, this would be the eastern edge of the property. And then here's looking at the rear of the property. I wanted to give you an idea because we did hear from some neighbors here along Champaign, which turns into Brittany. And then here's some pictures of the property. This is from West Poe, looking more so between the church and then that eastern edge of the property. This is looking towards the front of the property. This is looking towards the back of the property as you drive in from Poe, again, on the eastern edge. This is looking towards the rear of the building. And then this is looking again at the rear of the building, more so at that existing parking. And then here's a view from the rear of the property heading north. You can see towards the north where the entrance is. I know you definitely can't read this, it's very tiny, but it was part of your packet, the overall site plan. You'll see that the shaded areas here, there's one here at the western edge of the building, or I could say southwest. Another addition shaded here towards the rear of the building again, that would be the southeast corner. And then a small canopy there up front. And then some of the parking would be readjusted back here towards the rear of the property to accommodate those additions. This building was built, I believe, looking in the history, it used to be zoned a special district, which had to get planning commission and city council approval back in 1991. So that was really the last time we've seen any, I guess you'd say, any review of that property. So since then, though, it's been I-1 institutional. So it changed where it doesn't need that planning commission or city council review of the site plan. So that is different. We did receive a letter by email. We also received an email with some questions, and I will read these into the record. Before I do so, I did want to point out there is one variance with the property from 1999, and it was for the construction of their sign to be within that front setback. But again, just wanted you to be aware of that. So the first letter is from First Christian Church Property Team, 875 Haskins Road, Bowling Green, Ohio, 43402, dated June 9th of 2020. Again, I did email these to the board just so you had them, since not all of you would be present. Bowling Green Zoning Board of Appeals, 304 North Church Street, Bowling Green, Ohio, 43402. Dear Bowling Green Zoning Board of Appeals, we are writing to express our concern regarding the variance for the proposed addition to Bowling Green Manor, which is adjacent to our property. Specifically, we are concerned about the possible damage to the trees along the border of our adjacent property lines. The First Christian Church Property Team believes that based on drawings provided and in consultation with an area arborist, there exists a possibility that our trees would be damaged by the installation of the heavy-duty impervious parking area proposed in the plan. Also, the addition to the building at Bowling Green does not enhance the value of the property of the church as a congregation whose mission includes the care and preservation of creation and in being good stewards of the property we have been blessed with. The First Christian Church Property Team would be opposed to this variance. If the variance is approved and we have had a strong working relationship with Bowling Green Manor in the past, we would suggest an agreement between our organizations for the removal and replacement of any trees damaged by the proposed addition to the Bowling Green Manor building. Thank you for your time and consideration on this matter. Sincerely, First Christian Church Property Team. The second email we received was really basically questions, so I will read that. We received this from Sam Kirby on Tuesday, June 9th at 10:29 p.m. to the Planning Department. Subject Bowling Green Manor zoning meeting. It says, I apologize for any inconvenience for getting our questions in later than we were supposed to, but if our questions could still be answered, that would be great. We live at 838 Brittany Avenue. First question, is BGM extending their parking, building, or both? And I'm going to tell you my response, both. See attached. I did attach the site plan to the email. Second question, how close to our property? My answer, I do not know for sure, but it appears the closest improvement would be the new parking that would be approximately 90 to 100 feet away. There is property owned by the railroad in between that looks to be about 35 feet wide. Third question, will this push the employees out further for their smoke breaks to where they're closer to our property? I answered, I do not know the smoke break policies of that facility and is not regulated by zoning. The next question, will this affect our property value? The city does not assess property values. This use is not changing and the building is being remodeled. The Wood County Auditor has a process to determine the value of property for taxation purposes. Their phone number to that office is 419-354-9173. The last question, are they opening to providing us with a privacy fence? If so, preferably not a wood privacy fence. My answer is the city zoning code requirements are that parking and or driveways are to be screened with a minimum solid fence of 4 foot tall or 4 foot tall live screening when adjacent to residential. There is a railroad property in between, so it would not be a privacy fence directly adjacent to your property. Additionally, the plan does not yet indicate if they have decided to do a fence or live screening across the southern property line. The screening choice would not impact the variance request. And then the email is signed, thanks, Kyle and Sab Kirby. And my response was basically, good morning. Thank you for the questions. I will read them into the record at tonight's meeting. Will you be calling in and listening? Otherwise, I have answered what I can answer below. I have also attached the site plan. Please feel free to call me if you need me to walk you through the site plan. I can also put you in touch with the applicant with any further questions. Thank you, and please let me know if you have further questions. Sincerely, Heather Saylor, Planning Department. Okay, and then I will read my ending statement. An advertisement was placed in the newspaper of general circulation as required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the Administrative Code are posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed, first class mail, to the tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedural requirements for the hearing have been met.
All right, is there someone representing Bowling Green Manor?
Yes,
Would you state your name and address, please?
sure. My name is Revis Nichols. I'm Vice President of Development and Properties for HCF Management Company, located in Lima, Ohio, the parent company for Bowling Green Manor. And I appreciate the comments that come in, okay?
Can you speak
And-
up a little, sir? Can you speak up?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I appreciate the comments that came in, okay? And I'd like to address those if possible.
Certainly.
The church, as far as, we always want to be good neighbors first and foremost. So as far as the church goes, the trees, yes, if we would damage a tree, we would certainly, replant, replenish. We are just putting pavement along that property line. And typically the pavement doesn't go that deep, so the root system should not be impacted because of the setbacks and stuff like that. But if there is a reason for that, then we would certainly address it, okay? And the neighbors behind us there, yes, we are doing both, as Heather had stated, the addition and the parking expansion. We do have pavement going to the south of our building there along the property line, but we will not be getting into any of the tree lines or any of that kind of stuff that's already there in the railroad property that's between us and the rear property owners. So there should be screening there already, so that shouldn't change. I do have a landscaping plan that will be put in place for around the buildings, and we can certainly incorporate, some type of arborvitae or something to screen any headlights or any of that kind of stuff to the rear of the property. I mean, that's typically what we've done in the past in some of our projects, and we'd certainly do that here. And the other item, the smoking, it will not be any closer to them. They're not going to walk out that far to have smoking. We have limited smokers at the building. So they would not be going out any closer to the property owners. The drawings that we submitted to the city, it's basically to improve the life of our residents, 90+ residents in our building, trying to create a better therapy gym and provide a better service for them. Along with the front entry modifications, there's two things there that we really want to try to correct. One of them being internal bathrooms for the public, given a better public bathroom facility. And then, of course, for ambulance pickup and stuff like that, the existing canopy today is low for the larger ambulances that come to service our building. So we want to raise that just a little bit to have clearance so we don't cause damage to the ambulances and provide the service to the residents. I think as far as appearance wise, it's actually going to enhance the neighbor's view because it's going to be a more modern looking addition, more of a residential style look with with residential style stone and siding and such like that. So I think it's actually going to enhance the appearance of the side and rear of the property. You know, as far as the church goes, again, I mean, I know we have been great neighbors and partners throughout the years, and we certainly want to continue that. And again, to address their trees, we'll definitely take caution in anything we do. And if there is damage, we'll certainly address it. Questions?
Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to speak regarding this request? If not, members of the board, do you have questions?
I do.
All
Yep.
right, Rose?
Okay, the increase in the impervious surface, how much is that percentage? It's kind of hard to tell whether it's 8, 9, or 12 because there were 3 different figures, 40, 42, and 43. I saw 3 different figures. But how much of that additional hard surface is from the building and how much is asphalt for parking, etc.?
As far as the percentages, I don't have that right in front of me. I do know the parking. I mean, you know, when we did this, we got to meet certain criteria for parking spaces and stuff. You know, if I could reduce the parking down, I certainly would. But I think, you know, we're kind of stuck as far as, you know, the amount of spaces that we need for the facility size.
That was my next question. If you had considered, you know, reducing that.
Well, again, you know, I think we're just trying to meet the requirements that the city currently has as far as parking spaces for bed capacity and stuff like that.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
I just have a concern. You know, we're trying to eliminate, reduce hard surfaces and to keep more green. And I'm just concerned about setting a precedent. I don't recall, at least since the time I've been on the board, that we've had this come up since the new ordinance was passed, have we?
Just to correct that, the new ordinance that you're referring to was only for R1 and R2 single-family zoning. So the I1 institutional 40% maximum lot coverage has been there.
Okay.
And just to point out, I know it's going to be hard to read and I don't have a lot of detail, but on their site plan, they don't break down the actual building really versus the paving, but they do say the site area is 4.22 acres. The existing impervious area is 1.80 acres. The existing pervious area is 2.42 acres. The proposed impervious area is 2.21 acres. The proposed pervious area will still be 2.01 acres. And then it says total parcel square footage is 182,141 square feet. So the total impervious area would be 96,400 square feet for your percentage of 52% maximum lot coverage. I don't know if that helps at all, but at least gives you some numbers.
Well, we would certainly appreciate the, you know, the approval process because we certainly want to try to improve our property there. Okay. I think it would benefit, like I say, our residents and future residents of the facility to be able to have a better therapy service provided, some additional private rooms for the facility, you know, for the residents that wish to have private rooms. And also that, again, I think it's going to enhance the appearance of the property, just the way the addition is going to go on. And again, the parking area, I know that takes up a lot of our green space. We're just trying to comply with the requirements on that.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Hobie?
I did want to add, just I know we normally don't always cover this. Since this site was built so long ago, it never had sidewalks. So as part of this new site development, they do have to add sidewalks. And they do have to deed additional right-of-way to the city to have West Po meet our access management requirements. But I just wanted to point out, not that I'm trying to talk in favor, I'm just trying to give you facts that it'll be nice to have, again, the filling in of more of our complete streets policy that
Be
we're
nice
trying
to
to
have
do. So
sidewalks.
it will be nice as that fills in over time, and this will be a start to that if it does get approved.
Any
Yeah,
other?
we've already moved forward with the right of way for up front as well. I think Heather, you received them documents already.
Yes.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Oh, it's Hobie. I just had a question I wanted to ask, and it could just be the way in which he phrased it, which has me confused. When he was talking about the new structure being built, it would be a more modern look to the building. My question is, are you going to face the building in the same construction method that exists, or is this going to be a different kind of style?
Well, it's going to, what I want to say, it's going to enhance it. It will be a little bit different. The roof line will look the same for the most part. We're going to improve the front of the building as well by trying to change the curb appeal that the building has, because the building's 40 years old. So we're trying to enhance the front appearance as well. But yeah, we're gonna use some stone and brick and stuff like that is more earth tone colors than kind of the oranges and stuff that we have there today. So it will be more of a modern building, just because our existing building is 40 years old. And, that's why we need to do something.
Anything else? I will note that in the letter from First Christian Church, the property team did suggest an agreement between the two organizations for the removal and replacement of any trees damaged by the proposed addition. And I think I heard you say that you're willing to work with them regarding that.
Absolutely. We can work with them on getting an agreement for that, for sure.
Okay,
We're all,
thank you.
Our organization, we like trees as well. So we don't like to see any of them go away if not necessary. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll close the public hearing. And is there any, we'll talk amongst ourselves, gentlemen and lady.
So my question. I mean, if the building needs to be modernized, it's understandable.
Yes, it does. And
Especially if you've got to get ambulances in and out of there.
excited to have sidewalks out there.
Yeah, well, that's a plus.
That's a real plus.
Yeah.
Okay, we will now come back into the public hearing, and may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Chris has made a motion. Chris made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
David seconded.
Got it.
Will the secretary call the roll, please?
Yes, Judy?
Yes.
Hess, yes. Everly?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Ostrowski?
Yes.
Fleeger?
Yes.
Waddle?
Yes.
Your request for your variance has been granted, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Okay, now we have all the variances taken care of. We're going to move back up into the election of officers. We're electing a chairman, a vice chairman, and a secretary. Is there any nominations from the floor or from the Zoom? Don't all talk at once here, guys.
I
All I was gonna
nominate
say
Senator
was-
Brown.
All I was going to say
You're
was, if
still
there
there?
weren't any volunteers, I was going to nominate all of the
Existing
present
officers?
existing officers for the same position.
Are there any, well, all right, let's vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you all. We will now adjourn. Vote with your feet,
Can you
gentlemen.
please make that clear for the record? Chairperson Ennis.
Oh, yes, Vice Chairman is Hobie. Secretary is Rose Hess. And you'll pay for this.
And
You can sit over here next.
And I know we haven't met in a while, so I wanted to, since we have a lobby visitation portion, as a staff report, just give you a quick update that we are updating our zoning code. The budget was allocated to do so. It's a very critical project for the city. And why I'm letting you know is that you're the zoning board of appeals, so you're gonna really have to be involved in this project in some aspect. We likely will have a steering committee, and if one of you could represent on that steering committee, we would appreciate that. And then after the whole process is over, we hope for a very robust training. So we're not just throwing you into an appeal process. You're going to really know what the updates will be. We're looking at about at least a year-long project though. So again, I just wanted you to be aware of this and what you're learning now, you may have to unlearn at some point and learn new things. So just appreciate that support.
That
and-
keeps us young, right,
There you
guys?
go.
Right?
Right.
It's exciting time. So thank you.
And Heather, thank you. And Joan, both of you did masterful jobs tonight. Hopefully, when we meet again, we can meet in person. But ladies, thank you. You were wonderful.
Yes,
I have a motion.
may I say Zoom is nice, but it's better to be there.
Oh,
Oh,
you got it.
I have one question, Heather. Do you need these sheets that I have, the votes tonight or tomorrow?
No, I don't need the sheets. You could just give me a summary if you want by email would be fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
uh-huh.
I've just got 'em.
You have to have it signed.
Okay, gentlemen, the meeting is now adjourned and thank you all very much, gentlemen and Rose, and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Boy, Joan, you did a masterful job there.